Uh, you go on a date with a girl, and after you go on that date and you don't talk to her for a couple of days, she's gonna hopefully want you more, right? And I'm like, it's the same thing with this guy. And so basically, I told Matthew, I was like, look, do not call that guy until Thursday. Do not text him back. And then basically sent him a one-liner email and said, here's our offer, take it or leave it. I said, here, I typed him up. He copied and pasted it. Here's our offer, take it or leave it. And what do you freaking know? We got this deal tied up. It's like 2.75 million bucks, no money down, no money.
That's awesome.
And it'll throw
Yeah.
off, throws off like 21,000 a month in rent. And after debt service, Matthew's going to make like 4,500 bucks a month of cash flow, off of
That's
one deal.
awesome.
That's like we always joke and say, but it's true. We're only one triple net lease away. Like literally, man. Like everybody's just one net lease away. And that was exciting. Like, and that's kind of where we're all obviously wanting to get, but that was like kind of a cool success story. So Zane and I are going to be flying out to Midland here in the next couple of weeks, and it's going to be hot, but we'll be out there, that kind of thing. So Brant, what's going on with you, man? Dr. Russ, everybody that's on here, what's been going on? Let's hear what's happening in y'all's neck of the woods.
Hey, yeah, so I have been gone for about a week. I've been in Florida. So I've been texting back and forth with my broker. He's been pretty he's been really super responsive, so that's really good.
Nice.
He's got a few he threw a few my way. Just I think he's just throwing stuff my way, and I'm like, okay, let's look at it, let's review it. And some of them are not he knows what I'm looking for, but he threw one in my way. It was like, hey, this is a multi-tenant, like a multi-tenant, and they're asking way, they're asking way too much, he said. But it's a really cool property. What do you think? And I'm like,
Where
okay,
is it
well, let's take a
located?
look.
Where's it located,
It's
Brant?
in Bernie, Texas, right
Okay.
above San Antonio.
Okay, cool.
So really, really nice area. The thing is the guy is he. There's a few problems with it. A, it's not 100%, and he's willing to get fully leased. He's willing to guarantee 80%. But at like he was asking like 15 mil, and he had no contracts with any of his leasees.
What?
So yeah. I'm like, what's going on? He's like,
That's
yeah.
sketchy.
I said, well, not interested in that one. But I'm like, listen, I like none of it sounds really good. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to kind of test the water, see what you guys were comfortable with. And I'm like, no, that's not it. We need something that's a lot more firm.
We definitely like
There was
$15
one.
million deals. We just don't like them when there's no leases with guarantees. Like we want somebody to be serious.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it just felt like one of those things where you would have there was probably the amount of buildings you could have probably around like 17 occupants. So it was just
What type of space
way.
was it? What type of space was it, Brent? Like was it
It
like a
was it
like an
was
industrial site, or what was it? Or
it
flex?
was it was a kind of a flex with a few having office, but a lot of it was warehouse.
Okay.
They were all had roll up doors on each one. You could actually a few of them were still raw, the ones that were not occupied. So you could actually put up you could actually split it. So you could actually have the whole thing to yourself, or split it into like five. So again, it was some of the buildings were fairly new, which was good that it was new, but
Okay.
it was just a little bit out of my comfort zone in that regard.
Yeah, I think out of the gate, when anybody's kind of getting moving and like trying to move the ball down the field, I in my experience and what I kind of like the hill I'm dying on is let's stay in our quote unquote buy box, or stay in this tiny little space where it's like, hey, because once a person starts deviating away from that 10 to 40,000 feet, 16-foot ceiling heights, less than a mile off the highway, roll up doors, and you start like allowing yourself to look at other things. What ends up happening is that those deals that have been maybe sitting on the market for a while have been sitting there for a reason. Number one, But also, the farther that you deviate away from those 5 metrics, the less tenancy that is out there to rent that space if the current occupant goes away. So meaning, if you got a guy that's, you find a building that's 4 miles off the highway, it's got 12-foot height, it's 6,000 square feet, you might, in that tent, it's perfect for the tenant that's in tow. But if they go sideways and get abducted by aliens or go to Cabo and you got to re-tenant that space, you might be in a spot, right? Like you might be in a spot to go because it's a unique site. But if you've got something that's 10,000 feet, it's a box, it's close to the highway, and it's got some roll-up doors, you can lease that thing to some guy that's distributing flowers. You can lease that thing to some guy that's supplying glass, some guy that's fabricating steel. Like your tenancy pool opens up the closer that you are to that kind of those 5 metrics. The farther that you get away from those, the more unique the site becomes. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I just like hammer, like when you're looking at stuff, everyone's chasing a deal. We're all chasing deals, and I love that, and I appreciate it so much. But if we deviate even a little bit, you give an inch, brokers will take a mile, or somebody's going to take a mile and just start feeding you a bunch of shit that's like that's just not going to benefit you. The stuff that you're not looking for, and it's just going to waste your time. So that's why when I tell guys, anybody, hey, we are looking at these buildings. Like these are the buildings that we're looking at, and we will die on this hill of these are the metrics. If it does not fit in this, we're not going to look at it, because I'm thinking of what would Zig Ziglar say, like think of the end in mind. Like how are we going to exit a site if that time ever comes? How can we exit a site if we've got the most unique space, maybe specifically built out for some tiny little pharmaceutical distribution business that is local to one community, but then when they go sideways, maybe the owner has cancer and dies, and they sell the business or the family, like who's going to rent that random ass space, So that's why I'm like, I don't want to work with, I want to focus on this style of little tiny box, and if it fits in here, we'll freaking take it down and do that deal. Like if that kind of makes sense from a 30,000 foot level, at least.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that exit strategy is what I'm always thinking of. And I'm always thinking about what happens if things go sideways? What are my options? Like what kind of leasees would be available for this space if it becomes available? And I know that I've been looking at a few things that are really, really, they look really good on paper and on theory as well. But it's very, like you said, like I have this one that I'm looking at. It's a pickleball court. It's a huge building.
Yeah.
But dude, here, like if you guys know anything about pickleball, man, it's freaking taking over the country.
Spain definitely does.
Yeah.
Spain's a pickleball.
There you go. So I mean, they're taking over all of the Gold's Gyms. Everybody's turning their basketball courts into pickleball courts. So this is a huge facility. It's like a huge. It's not only pickleball, but it's kind of like almost like a club, right? So they sell their memberships for like $250 a month or so. They already have people that are signed. They have this. They're located. I think they have one. They have one in San Diego, and they're opening one here, or they've opened one in San Antonio. They're looking for somebody to buy this triple net. It's a triple net lease. They have, I think it's 5 and 5. So it's a 5 lease. So 5 years with a 5 option afterwards.
Nice.
And right now it's the question is do I like this is the first thing in my head. What if it does go sideways, right? I know it's awesome right now, but it might be, who knows, maybe it goes away. And what happens then? Who could take that space on as as somebody else that wants to lease that space? It's a great location, right downtown. But who else would be willing to take that location at that cost, at that price, at that lease? Shoot, I'm still trying to get my laptop turned on.
No.
I'll get you the details.
You've got to, I mean, if it's a good location and it fits into that criteria before, I really think it's a no-brainer, to offer on it, right? Like that's kind of the key.
Yeah.
Let me ask, I want to take a step back for a second. I want to ask two questions to everybody that's on here so far. So number one, I'm going to make sure that everybody got the email that we sent last night on our invitation to our event that comes up in September. Did y'all get all that? Did you get that from Zane and I?
I didn't. I was traveling all day yesterday.
Okay,
so I just haven't seen it yet.
Well, either way, so just to recap really quickly, we sent an email to all of our members, right? This is our second live event from everybody that was on that was in our group last year. This is a live event, and let me do this. Let me pull this up really quickly. If you guys can follow my screen here. So what we're doing, I sent this email out. If you can see this here, let me pull this over. And you guys can look at the email. Basically, what it has is it's an invitation, okay, to our live event. It's coming up on September 20th and 21st. So it's a couple of months away still, but it's in Birmingham. There's no cost. You come in town. What we're going to be doing is we've got, as I would like to call our transaction experts, which is our accountants, our attorneys, our lenders, our brokers, our infinite banking guys. Like all of these guys are going to be here speaking and talking about, like, for example, like I kind of have right here, like my broker Sam's not going to make it. He's like my main guy, but another guy, my other broker Sonny's going to make it. Sonny's going to talk about how to find deals, the relationships back and forth. Like this is like our event agenda. So like Thursday, the inner circle essentially is the people that are a part of our group and also my infinite banking clients. So they get to come in the night before and they'll get a mingle with all of the people that are speaking. But you'll get to meet Sonny, who's talking about how to do deals, the deal valuation, the relationship back and forth, how to be different as a broker or as an investor. Patrick Levette, who's my banker at Renaissance, going to go over how to, banking, lending appetite, underwriting risk, intrinsic value. He's going to give us his pitch on what he foresees. Drew Ellis is my attorney in Birmingham downtown. He's going to go over syndications and how to protect yourself from litigation and all that. Clay Hagler is my accountant, and a lot of our guys in our group accountant. He's going to go over the tax law. He's going to go over depreciation. He's going to go over 1031 exchanges, the ins and the outs, how to use it, how to use a mediary, all that stuff works. And then Justin Kraft is our president of the insurance firm that I work with, that Zane and I work with. And he's going to kind of talk about, the predictions, or really the forecast of taxation, where that's going, and how to essentially protect your money from Uncle Sam and litigation through life insurance. And then after that, we're going to have like a happy hour. It's going to be awesome, dude. Like we had a blast last year. And then Saturday we'll wake up. We've got a keynote speaker. I'm going to keep that kind of secretive for now. We got a pretty big name coming. And then after that, we'll get on this party bus that we've rented, and we'll just go look around Birmingham. We'll look at all the buildings that I own, and I'll tell you the story of how I bought them. We'll walk a couple of sites. You probably even meet a couple of my tenants, and we'll just walk through like the negotiation of how I bought a building, how I negotiated. Like 3 of them are at least seller finance, maybe even 4. I got to look back at the debt, but it's going to be a really, really fun event. Like we had this last year, and it was Zane was there. I mean, it was just like it was just so much fun. So this year, what we're doing, before someone could buy to come to that. Now you can't. Nobody's allowed to buy in. You have to be invited, which is from everyone on this call and everybody that's my infinite banking client. And then they get to bring a business associate. So it's going to be awesome. Like it's just everybody that's going to be there is going to be an action taker. There's nobody there that's there for free, quote unquote, if that makes sense. They've taken action already. So that's really what, like, we're all about. So it's going to be really, really awesome. So Zane and I have been working really hard. We've identified a couple of sites that we're going to go to for, dinners and lunches and the happy hours. It's going to be super smooth. Everything's going to be catered. Everything's going to be completely included. And you'll get to be around everybody that's in our group. Like, we're all going to congregate and network together. It's really, really fun. We had a great time last year, and I'm excited to have everybody this year. It's cool when you get on these calls like this, but when you get together in person, belly to belly, it is just like, it's just awesome. It's just so much fun. Like, I've been looking forward to it. It's going to be great. It's going to be really fun. So I wanted to put that out there. If you haven't seen the email already, let Zane and I know, and we'll make sure that we get it to the right email. Maybe we missed a letter or something in someone's email, but we're pretty sure we got everyone's stuff. But make sure that you see that email, and then there's an RSVP link in there. Talk to your spouse or whoever that you need to get with before. But we would love to have you, your spouse, or you and your business partner come into town and experience, just 48 hours of just networking, real estate, and action taking. So I'm really pumped about it. But I want to make sure everybody saw that. So off that little high horse there, but I wanted to ask as well, has everyone, I want to hear, at least from you, Brent, and you, Lee, how has the workshops been going and the weekly calls with Zane going? Like, we're working really hard to really dial that boot camp in. I want to make sure that acquisition weekly call is going well. How have you guys, how has y'all's experience been on that? I'm just curious.
I guess I'll go first. It's been pretty good. Yeah, Zane's been pretty responsive, and we're going over a few things here and there. I'm one of those guys with just like I'm sure a lot of other people have tons of questions about a lot of things. I'm always thinking about the end game as well. Some things I haven't really gotten into really, and I think that I know Zane's touched on this a little bit too, is that you guys are changing up the way that you guys are structuring the whole course over time. They're actually working on it right now and finishing up the first few pieces of that new series you guys have to go over. Because so my first kind of when I first went through it, I was watching the videos, and then it was kind of like, well, wait a second, those videos that we saw, they were completely, it was not kind of, it wasn't the way that the system was explained, if that makes sense. It was and Zane touched on this as well. This was a specific, that was a group prior to this new model you guys have. So I was thinking, shoot, should I build out a team? Should I be looking for a lawyer? Because I'm listening to the videos, and again, I'm sure other people have had the same experience. You guys explain that, but so that kind of threw me off a little bit at first. But after that, then obviously just going over the properties with Zane has been nice. I was lucky enough to find a broker. At first, it was just no one was calling me back. No one was giving me any voicemails back. I'm sure some other people had the same experience.
Been there, done that. You and me both. Oh yeah. I think I've done it 500 times.
I'm like, what's going on, man? Like,
especially if they got the wrong area code. If you don't have the right area code, someone's like, there's no chance that's a spam. No chance.
100%. Yeah, and I'm like leaving detailed messages, and I'm I'm trying to personalize it as well as I can, and nothing. So, and I actually found it was honestly it was kind of a fluke, because I even had realtors friends, and they said, yeah, I don't know if I know anybody like that. Let me check, and they never got back to me. I'm like, what's going on? Why is everybody ghosting me? I finally got a call back from a realtor that was looking for a property probably 3 years ago for us, and she just randomly called me back, and she's like, hey, you guys still looking? And I'm like, well, I mean, we're always looking. So what do you have? And then I'm like, hey, you know what? Do you know anybody? Like, who would you recommend as a commercial broker? And she threw out this guy's name, and it's been smooth sailing from there. So
Okay.
really fortunate to get somebody that that is responsive and actually can
Yeah,
throw me
it
some
takes
deals.
time out of the gate. It takes and nothing happens overnight. It doesn't happen overnight, but you keep laying, you keep laying ideas out there, placing eggs out there. Eventually they'll start hatching. I see Russet and Tim over here. You guys, how are you guys doing this afternoon? I wanted to, these are our newest members as well. I want to introduce them. They've got some cool things going on too. You guys want to say hello, tell us more about what's going on in your city over in Atlanta, what's happening? You're on mute. Hey, Russet, you're on mute. I can't hear
There
you.
we go. Got
There
it.
you go.
Got
There
it.
you
Got
go.
it.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I said, I'm sorry about the stock room here. I had to find a quiet place because it was
That's all
getting
right.
busy out
That's
there.
okay.
So yeah, things are going good. We are just getting started. We are in week 3 here. And I did have a question
Yeah.
because this is where we are finding the properties, entering them into the pro forma. And the question I have is, when we're looking at some of this paper, these flyers that the realtors are sending us, it doesn't have all the information. So is there a terminology or something that we can use to request all of the information, or do I need to go through and list what specifically I'm looking for on each property to be able to properly fill out my performance?
So let me ask the question. So when you're looking at a deal and is it asked like, so $2 million deal, whatever it is, and you're wondering, okay, what's the cap rate or what's the cash on cash, or like what metrics are you looking for?
Specifically, okay, I have one that gives me the asking price and the cap rate, but not the NOI. And this is like they're asking for a 20-year lease on this. It's it's a gem,
Okay.
this one that I'm talking about. But I've run into several like this.
Sure. Well, think about it this way: the way that the cap rate, the purchase price, and the NOI are all interchangeable, right?
Right. And I did that. I backed it out. I was just using that as an example. There's some of them that are not giving the square footage. That one doesn't give the square footage. There's some of them that are not giving, like, that are not leased yet. Good location, meeting all the metrics except for it's not leased.
Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with a vacant space, especially if you can buy it right. And that's what we'll go over later on in like week 5 or 6 of that,
Okay.
draw up. But I
So
would
as far,
go ahead.
I was just wondering if there was a terminology of I don't know, a booklet, a more in-depth flyer, something like that.
No, what I would do, especially if like you need, let's say that you needed, let's say that you needed a square footage of a building, and let's say that you needed, like, what I'll do with my bankers, or my brokers, they fortunately now we got the relationship where it's just they know all the stuff that we need. So you're building this out right now. I would respond in the email. So if they send you an email, so this is for everyone here. If you're looking at a site and they send you a flyer and it says, hey, this is a great deal, it's close to what you're asking for, right? Which is like what we're all looking for. What I would do is if you got your 8 metrics, your physical attributes and your financials, and you're looking for the square footage and it doesn't shake up on that flyer, I would respond back to that agent or that broker. I respond and say, hey, John, the flyer looks awesome. This deal looks like something I want to take down. Here's a couple pieces that I need in order to make an offer, right? So like,
okay.
you want to make sure that broker knows that you're wanting to move the ball down the field. So like,
okay.
John, these are the two puzzle pieces that I need to make an offer. Because that's gonna get them fired up, because that's money making numbers or money making words, right? So that's when I would say, hey, here's the 2 things that I need. I'd space it. I'd send a bullet point. I need X amount of square footage. I need, what is the market rent, in this area, and what is the vacant, or whatever the number would be. Like, how long has this building been vacant, if it's vacant or whatever. But like, hit them with bullet points, and then what I do, I email that to them. And if it's Tuesday at 2 p.m., I'd call them at 3. I'd call them an hour later and say, hey, John, I just shot you an email. Maybe you saw it, maybe it didn't come through, whatever. Hey, I love that building. It looks awesome. I'd like to make an offer on that building, but I need these 2 pieces of information before I go back and submit you something. They're going to be like fired up to answer your questions and then submit a LOI. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah, I'm
exciting.
so sorry.
So
Yes,
that's kind of where
absolutely.
my head is on it, is like you want to make sure that any email that you send, and this is kind of like what, when Zane and I talk, whenever you're emailing back and forth, using those, it sounds funny, but like money making words. I want to offer, I want to close, deal, like whatever. It
Got
gets
it.
the brokers that are, they're commission guys. I'm a commission guy. So is probably a lot of you guys here. If you're not like, that's money making words. And you're like, okay, somebody's wanting to make something happen versus just the stagnation. So I like to
Absolutely.
always use money making vocabulary to get people to move the ball down the field. If that kind of answers your question from like 30,000 feet.
Yes, absolutely. It does. It
Okay.
does.
Okay. Awesome. Does anybody else kind of have anything going on? I know I was going to ask you, Lee, kind of what was how things have been going, or before we jump over to Lee, I wanted to ask you, Russet, like, has everything so far, because like Brent said a second ago, we've been trying to transfer into our kind of 202 of our collective and how we're on.
Yeah.
Have you guys, how's your experience been as like the day to day and the week to week been? Has it been what you guys are looking for? How can we be better?
You know what? I'm enjoying it so far. I think that it's not an overwhelming amount of information, but it is enough to keep us busy, and you guys are always accessible. And so I don't have anything but positives to say. I mean, I feel like everything's, pretty self-explanatory. You've given us the information. It's just doing the work and getting it cemented into my head.
And it takes some time out of the gate when someone's beginning to transition from maybe somebody that was like a residential person into commercial.
Yeah.
Everybody here has, of course, like kind of moved their mindset to commercial at this point. It's hilarious. I had a lunch this morning. I'll spare everyone, but I had a lunch and this guy's talking residential and he's going back and I'm like, it sounds bad, but I go, dude, I have no desire to like, I have no desire for what you're talking about. Like, it sounds like I'm not trying to be a douche, buddy, but I just do not care about the residential market over in Eagle Point in Vestavia Hills. I just don't care. Like, I do not care. I want to talk about industrial $1 million buildings, not $240,000 houses in Roebuck. Like, it's just your mindset starts to shift a little bit,
Yeah.
But
I have a lot of realtors that do that. They push you back towards, brokers, I guess. Yeah. Push you back.
Well, I was going to say this too. I don't know if you jumped on or not, Lee, but did you get the email from Zane and I on the live event coming up in September?
I did.
Okay, good. All
yeah,
right.
We'll be there. Absolutely.
Oh, awesome. Okay, good. So it has to be a yes or no today. I just want to make sure that we send that out to everyone. So we're really excited.
We're all in.
Good.
Yep.
Lee, tell us about, I wanted to hear, and then we can kind of jump back in to just any questions or thoughts on what everyone's doing. But like, how has things been going with you, Lee? I know you're in Kokomo, which is crazy, everyone, because Lee and I am from Kokomo, where Lee lives. Like, where I'm from Kokomo, Indiana, that's where Lee is, and my parents are still there and everything like that. And it's kind of crazy because now it's like, man, it comes full circle. It's a lot of fun working with people that are there like that. Like, we're running like through the same kind of names and brokers, and realtors and bankers. So it's been a lot of fun. But Lee, tell us kind of what's been going on in your world. Like, how has everything been coming together?
Not too bad. I'm kind of like Dr. Rush, what's the other guy's name? Brent. You talk to several brokers and stuff, and I don't hear from any of them except my residential broker, that my agent that I used for over 20 years buying, residential properties. And me and Zane's been haggling back and trying to figure out about, this one realtor or a broker. I'm sure you know him. He's wanting me to sign a contract. Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah. And so after kind of
Paul.
haggling back and forth and stuff, I decided, I'm not going to do that. But what's funny is my realtor, the only one that sent me stuff so far is the one that I've used forever, right? And she sent me a building that is nothing like we want. It's a 5,000 square foot building. It has 18-foot ceilings, but that's at the peak. The sides might be 8 foot. You know what I mean? Has no roll-up doors. And it has 2 outbuildings that are like 600 square feet each. So I emailed her. I said, hey, thanks for sending me the building. but this is not what I'm looking for. I know it has 18-foot ceiling, but that's probably at the peak. There's no roll up doors. This looks more like a retail store, you know, than what I'm looking for, which is a warehouse. We ended up talking, and she said, yeah, I knew that wasn't really what you was looking for, but it's a good deal. I said, well, if I made an offer on that, it'd be 190,000. They wanted 275. I said, mine would be 190. And here's my problem. With it being only 5,000 square feet, the only people that's going to rent that is a mom and pop. So when mom and pop goes out of business after 1 year, I got to figure out how I'm going to lease that building again.
If you got debt on it, then you're even more trouble.
Exactly. And I said, with this being my first one, there's no bank going to loan me any money on something that's not leased.
Yeah, that's right.
So, the next day, which was yesterday, she calls me up and says, hey, would you be upset if I requested you to go to a different broker that does nothing for, that's all he's done for 42 years is commercial property. He's only sold one residential property in 42 years.
Nice.
She goes, can I recommend you? I mean, will you work with him instead of me? Because, you know, and that was my issue with her, was she's super sweet, but she just doesn't know about commercial property. When I asked her to do an LOI, she goes, oh, I don't do those. You got to get a lawyer to do that.
Wow.
And I'm like, no. So I knew she didn't know much about commercial property. So now she's turned me on to another guy that's supposed to contact me today. He's from Anderson.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes.
Is about that too. If you think about it, for everyone here, is that's been the biggest way that when I was first kind of getting started, especially in residential, I was just trying to buy something, maybe like everybody here, trying to buy a deal. Everybody has a residential real estate agent in their phone. It doesn't matter if it's your brother-in-law. It doesn't matter if it's someone you went to high school with. Like, everyone knows one residential real estate agent. Like, everybody does. And so what I try and tell people when they're trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I find the broker? Like, how can I, versus just going on LoopNet and like clicking inquire, right? Like totally cold online or Crexy. Instead, call up your local friend that's in your phone book who you run with. You're like, hey, Jamie, what's up? Hey, dude, awesome to hang out. How's the kids? Whatever. All right, look, I am getting in commercial real estate. I'm a commercial guy now. I'm not in residential anymore. I know that you're with Keller Williams or you're with First Realty or whoever. Who's your best commercial guy? Who's your number one commercial guy in your brokerage that if you were to go do it, if someone brought a commercial deal to you that you would recommend? Oh man, you got to talk to Johnny. Johnny is so sick. He's been in the business for 42 years. He would love to help you. Awesome. Can you send me and Johnny a connecting text like right now so I can buy that guy a cup of coffee? And then what do you know? You get this referral from, your person, a residential person. Hey, this is great. Real estate agent. Awesome. This is my friend, real estate investor in commercial, would love to buy you a cup of coffee, Jimmy. Jimmy's like, awesome. I'm available on Thursday morning. Cool. You guys go to breakfast or coffee, whatever it is. And then the vocabulary, I've said it before, the vocabulary that you use is you get on those calls, you sit down with them, you ask them about their family, whatever, bit a little, oxytocin release, get the bonding chemical going, and then be like, so what do you got? Like, I saw I'm thankful that what's his name connected us. I'm looking for this, and this. And you spell out all of the metrics that we're looking at. I'm looking for this. And they're going to say, man, Lee, I don't have that, but I got, well, what do you got? Like, what do you got? I've got something that's 50,000 feet that's over in Anderson right now, and it's 14-foot ceiling heights, but it's 2 miles. It doesn't matter what it is. What you do is you say, awesome, I'm available next Tuesday. Let's go walk that site. And immediately what just happened, if you think about it, in a week from you reaching out to a freaking random ass residential real estate agent in your phone, you are now walking $1 million building in less than 7 days by literally those steps. And it's not that hard because your residential real estate wants to help a person that they already know. That commercial broker is going to want to work with somebody that's been referred to them from somebody in their office. And then you immediately offer to go walk the space that they have listed. Like, think about that kind of trajectory right there. And even if you don't buy that building, after you go walk that site and you say, man, this is great. Yeah, let me go back to my investors and let's see if we can put together a deal. And then you email them back and say, hey, look, I know that building over there on 123 Main. I don't believe that's going to be for us, Jamie. I appreciate the time that you spent with me. What I am looking for is this. And then what you just done is you built rapport that you are serious, that you're a serious buyer, that you're wanting to do deals. You can always stretch the truth and say, hey, my investors and I own over 200,000 square feet. You can, because if you partner with me, that's true. What I'm saying is making sure that they know that you are a serious buyer and that when there's an opportunity that you will pull the trigger and they will get paid, because that's their highest and most valuable thought in their mind is, how can I get paid today, right? So if you guys go and think about it, putting that commercial broker first, how can I get this guy paid? And it's by presenting them the most down the fairway metrics and ratios that they need in order to send it to you so they can get paid. So if you think about it from that perspective, that's when they're going to start sending you things like, man, this lead guy, he keeps buying stuff from me whenever, because he told me exactly what he's looking for. So if Brent has that conversation and says, hey, I will walk that building with you tomorrow or next Monday or whatever, and you go walk it, and then you send an email that afternoon and say, hey, Jamie, thanks so much for your time, man. I don't think this building is for my investors and I, but we are looking for this. You've just proven that you're a serious person because you had coffee with them and then you walked a building. You know what you're talking about. And then you respond with an email with all of the stuff that you're looking for. Man, you just presented yourself as a legitimate buyer. And so that's what I would really, really recommend everyone do is, and it can happen so quickly, like so quickly, literally like this afternoon or tomorrow morning or this week or whatever. Go call or text your local real estate agent in your phone. We've all probably got 10 of them. Like if you scroll through your phone, you probably got 10 residential real estate agents. And if you hit up like 3 of them and then get 3 commercial brokers, imagine how many like deals can pop into your inbox if you tell them exactly what you're looking for and then you go walk a building. And what you'll discover is you even buying that coffee and then you walk in that building. I'm not even stretching the truth here. You're talking about being a part of like 3% of people. Like nobody else is doing that. Like everybody on this call, think about it for a sec without getting philosophical. Like nobody's doing the shit that we're doing. Like nobody's doing this. So like, imagine if you actually buy a guy coffee and then you walk a building with them. Nobody's doing that. And that's what makes you different. And then that's what in their mind's eye, when they have a deal, you are the first person they think about. Like you're the guy. And then that's where the deals start coming in. And then what do you know? You got $14 million tied up in different states. And what do you know? You're closing deals. All right. I'll take up an offering for that.
Sorry. Oh, and I was going to say that's kind of what happened. I mean, I don't want to say I was getting discouraged, but it seemed like, man, I've called all these people. I've had coffee with one, and I've been to another one's office twice. And it's like, nobody's calling me, and then my realtor sends me this deal and it's not what I'm looking for. And next thing you know, I mean, she kind of like, I was glad she did it because that's what should have happened. I really didn't want to push her off to the side and say, look, you can't do this job. You know what I mean? Sure. You can't be part of this team. And that's what I'm trying to do is build my team. Right.
That's right.
So she already calls this guy up. And she gave him all of my information, and so he just had to go out of town last night. So he's supposed to be calling me today. Sure. And she sent me all of his information and says, please keep me posted. So now things are looking a little better. Now, it's worth the wait. I mean, like you said, sometimes it just takes a little time, and,
doesn't happen overnight. Don't
happen overnight.
Don't get discouraged if like you're not buying a $6 million deal tomorrow. But just know that as long as you're moving the ball down the field, you're meeting with people, you are walking sites. I can't tell you guys how important that it sounds hilarious, but walking a site with a broker, whether you buy that building or not, can create this bond. I mean, it's crazy. Zane and I were walking a building a couple of weeks ago with the broker, and we didn't buy that particular building, but I've got another deal under contract now with the same guy because he thought of me before, and it did not go on LoopNet, didn't go on Crexy. It's 28,000 feet over in Leeds, Alabama, which is like East Birmingham. And he thought of us. And honestly, he's probably doing a disservice to his client because he didn't take it to market. It's probably worth $1.5 million. We're buying it for $1.075 million. So we're getting basically 400 grand discounted just because he wanted to do it off market. And because he thought of me. He thought of me, like, this is a perfect building for Nolan. Like, Nolan would buy this building. And I had the highest likelihood of closing because Nolan's got 3 brokers or 3 bankers that will close this deal. 100% of the time, Nolan will get a deal done across the finish line. And it's amazing, like, when that kind of happens, if you can be that person in their mind, we're like, oh, damn, I need to call that guy back up because this building would be perfect for him because he sticks to his guns. If it doesn't fit in, I won't talk to him. So what you'll discover as you guys keep going down this little road is all the stuff that's out there, all the noise, you get rid of it, and nobody will bother you with shit that does not matter. And then what happens when you do have something pop in your inbox and you've been specific on what you're looking for and you'll die on the hill of those metrics, the only time a deal pops in your inbox is when you'll actually get a chance to close it because it's the deal that fits into what you're doing. That's when it gets really cool. And then you have a deal pop in there every week. And then you're like, damn, we just need more money. We just need to go buy more money, like more deals, get more debt and raise more cash. So I would say the best advice I can give as where everyone is in their city, like, buy that broker a coffee this week. Like, call your residential real estate agent, call 3 or 4 of them, and then get 2 commercial real estate broker coffees next week, and then walk a building next week. Like, wherever you are in your trajectory of wherever when they joined, like, go try and find a way to walk a building. If you walk a building, what's going to happen is you're going to get belly to belly with that broker. And then you can have that dialogue versus just over the phone. You're in person. And if you don't ever buy it, it's not a big deal. The fact is you did something. You got a chance to get your eyes on something. You're in there. Like, it will motivate you even more to do something cool too. So that's kind of my high horse thought process. Is just like, if you're able to walk a building with a broker like that, they're going to call you back. They're going to call you back because nobody else is doing that. Like, nobody else is doing that. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my pitch, I guess, if that makes sense. Zane, do you have anything kind of on your mind, man? I don't want to. Zane always has something shaking.
Yeah, well, I actually do. So, just for everybody's knowledge, Russet and Tim are the first people on the new Collective 2.0. They're kind of like our guinea pigs. Luckily, they were gracious enough to be those people for us. But they, from what they say, it's going really well, and I think it's a much better way of going about it anyways. So if anybody on this particular call right now, like Brent and Lee or Garrett, whoever wants to, get on that 2.0 version, I can like set you guys up with the starter version of that.
It's freaking awesome. It is awesome.
So that you guys can just like get your eyes on it. But it's not completely finished. I gotta, preface with that. It's about halfway done. So you guys can just start watching the videos if you want. But if you want me to do that, just text me and I'll go and put that inside you guys' onboarding folders whenever you text me.
Yeah. Send it over. I'll be
awesome.
Looking forward.
Rad. Okay. It is rad. I'm really pumped about it because it is like it is totally and maybe Russ, that you can, if you don't mind, maybe you give us a little insight to some of the other people on here. But like it's totally do it with you. Like, I'm sharing my screen, I'm going back and forth with my folder, I'm showing like the ins and the outs. Like I think it's for somebody that was just being started, like y'all are a little further ahead than maybe they are. But I want to believe that we are just like breaking it down to like, the X's and O's, the bunning, the hitting to the opposite field, like learning how, like the whole song and dance. Like, we're really trying to make sure everybody has a great foundation. Am I kind of on there, Russet, or am I off?
Absolutely. You know what? We are able to rewind those videos, watch everything that you're doing in the Proforma, because we can watch it, we can rewatch it, we can play with it while you do, pause you, do it ourselves, go back. you know, it's super user friendly, and
Okay.
it just makes out of all those tabs. Because when I first looked at that pro forma, I was really intimidated.
Overwhelming. 100%.
Doesn't even scare me anymore. It all makes sense. So easy to use.
Awesome. Yeah, it takes so when someone joins in like that, you're like, oh my God, I've like this is a lot. You're seeing all
Yeah.
this stuff happening, and you're like, and I'm like, hang on, let's slow down for a second. Like, pull up your screen. I'm gonna show go click this and watch how it changes this effect. Watch how this variable changes this. And we just like
Absolutely.
walk through it. And out of the gate, I think that's important because you know, Zane and I have been doing this for a while, and at this point, I have to sometimes remind myself, like, hey, like everyone started somewhere, right? I can't imagine, Mr. Russell. I can't imagine like trying to be in chiropractic. I can't imagine trying to figure that out. But you know this like the back of your hand. But if you were trying to teach me, like, oh, just do this, this, and this. But like, wait a minute. No, this is how you do it. You start here, you do this, this, and this. But so that's kind of where we try and break this like so down to where it's in first grade, like sounding out our vowels, like literally breaking it down to where everybody, I really think it'll be important for once I finish this. I'm expecting this to be done next week, all of everything, and we'll kind of do like a relaunch. Like, I mean, it's going to be sick. And I'm really excited about it. And I would really, I hate the word encourage, but I would recommend everybody to like literally start on week 1 and go through it again, because you're gonna understand the intrinsic and fundamental values of commercial real estate so much more when going through this boot camp than maybe you would have if you would have just been like kind of joining and getting on these live calls. Am I on point by saying that, Russet?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm telling you, I didn't think that we were going to understand it as quickly as we did.
Okay,
But
good.
you guys did a great job. And then having, like I said before, the support of being able to call or listen to the live calls and all of that. I mean, you did a really good job. I don't have any complaints.
Awesome. Well, that's great to hear. That's kind of, well, we're just in the most important piece at the end of this, guys. I know we're coming up to the end of the window here, but end of the day, the most important piece is that like after we understand the foundation, we've got the rebar set in place and the concrete, and then we start submitting offers like this. Once we have some deals tied up, whatever city that you got a deal tied up, Zane and I we're flying to Midland, Texas in 2 weeks to go look at some building. We're flying up to Warren, Michigan, which is like near Detroit. We're gonna be flying up there. Like whatever the building and the location is, I guess we can drive to Atlanta, but everything else, we are going to be like, whatever you got something tied up and you got a deal that fits in, we will be there, like in the flesh. We will be there. Like count on it. Like we are your partners through and through. We can't wait to partner with you. So that's what's exciting for us in Birmingham. We're just excited, and of course it's going to be great when everybody gets a chance to be in person as well here in a couple months too. We're really excited about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited too. I can't wait to meet everybody.
It's going to be great. It last year was amazing, and I think this year is just going to be 5 times better. But okay, as we're rolling out, does anybody have kind of any ending thoughts or questions? What I'm going to do too, guys, is because I kind of put this on the calendar like super late, so I apologize for that. Zane and I are going to look at our calendar for next week. We're going to let me ask everyone here: Is lunchtime okay? Is it better in the evening time? I'm just trying to be as accommodating as I can for everyone on their timing for our live calls, because I want to answer everyone's questions in front of everyone if I can, and have dialogue. But you know, everybody just has different schedules. So does the lunchtime work? Lunchtime works for me. Does dinner time work? Dinner time works for me too. Like, some people have kids, some people don't. It just, what's the best for y'all that are on this live call right now? Like what timing and everything? Do you guys have an opinion?
Lunchtime typically is good for me. Again, I'm in Central Time, but also Friday afternoons are my lightest. So
Okay.
If that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Maybe
I would second that, Nolan. The Friday afternoons are definitely best for me.
Okay. Then maybe the Friday afternoon. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Russet.
No, Fridays. I was agreeing with the guys. Yeah, definitely Fridays.
Okay. Then maybe that's what we'll start doing, like kind of around this kind of ballpark. Maybe even a little bit in later, like a 2:30-ish or whatever. I might just shoot a text out on school and be like, hey, we're going to do next Friday around this time. Does anyone, and I'll shoot out like 3 times, and the highest vote for that time, we'll book it for that time, if that works with everyone.
That works.
That'll work.
Cool.
Mark.
All right, well, any last thoughts kind of before we make a move, kind of get rolling out of here? I'm excited about kind of what's coming up, but be on the lookout on your email. Zane and I are going to send some texts. We're just like really pumped about kind of what's coming down the way. But if anybody has anything on their mind, like anything, text me, call Zane, text us, anything. We are your teammate. We are your partner. We want to partner with you. Anything that you need from us, anything, call us or text us. We want to make things happen with you. So let us know if anything else is on your mind, and we'll go from there. Okay.
And one more thing, again, if you guys haven't received the invitation email to the Summit live event, text me, let me know, and I'll send that over to you as soon as you do.
Yeah. 100%. Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for making it on today. Yeah, I'll shoot a message on school for next week's call, and we'll plan on doing Friday afternoon. All right.
Cool.
All right, everyone. Y'all have a great afternoon, great weekend. Enjoy. Stay cool.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.